came in to San Antonio, SUNY was predominantly Hispanic, and it was heavily German. So anyway, no, I'm a 1991 graduate from Pine Forest High School, and I graduated from the University of West Florida in 1999 with a degree in music education and performance. And when I teach, I substitute teach a lot. And right now I find myself more in the regular general classroom teaching English and history, which is right up my alley. So anyway, let's see, anything, you guys have questions about Texas? We have great tacos. All right, so just to start out, my hope is that you'll be able to take what you learned today and just be able to go back and at least, at the very, very least, understand what you're seeing as you go through Ancestry DNA. I'm well versed in all the different tests that you probably have done work with, Ancestry DNA, 23andMe, etc. But this is what I'm going to focus mostly on Ancestry because most of us have used Ancestry. Raise your hand if you have done Ancestry DNA. You are my people. Okay, and all right, so going on, when you work with DNA, just don't think it's going to automatically spit off that pedigree. A lot of us, we go in there and we want that ethnicity eye candy. We're like, oh, what am I made up of? And that's just part of what DNA has for us. It is another tool. Think of it as another document or another source, an original primary source. The DNA is, it's the combination of using that DNA plus your family tree research. So you're adding just another document that you're into your research. I have different ways to help me visualize DNA. One of the first ones in very basic terms, and you guys watch Price is Right? Yeah. Okay, the Plinko game. So imagine you are a person who you're just one giant Plinko game, and all along the bottom you have different slots or different characteristics. You have the color of eyes, how you walk, your talents, your interests, what color skin you are, your favorite flavor of ice cream. Those are all, it's millions and millions of little slots, but this is very general terms. We all get those, and so we are going to inherit some of those things from each generation. For example, I have my grandmother's eyes. My aunt told me I had Mamaw's eyes. I was like, my mom has often told me I walk like her brother. I get my musical interest from my mom's side of the family, but my love of gift and gab is definitely from my father's. So different things trickle down to you. And you probably noticed as you work through your family history research that oh yeah, that's definitely, I got that. Or then, that's that crazy cousin over there. I don't claim that. All right. So why should you test your DNA? Most of you have heard a lot of this. There's different reasons that you should do it, like Family Tree DNA has surname projects. So if you have tested, usually with Y-DNA, you want to check out those because those are people who are experts on not just their surname, but also the Y-DNA and how that all works together. Maybe you're interested in the medical research. You're just trying to find cousins, or you're an adoptee, or maybe a birth parent, and you're trying to find that child, or you're trying to find your birth family. This one in particular we're going to talk about today, it's a brick wall that we actually didn't know we had. Maybe you're going to have a male relative and you're wanting to trace that Y-DNA. When I first started talking about DNA, there was really 3 major DNA tests. And we're going to focus on Ancestry DNA. But there's also Family Tree DNA, 23andMe, as well as we have MyHeritage and Living DNA. MyHeritage and even Living DNA allows for some external uploads. We can talk about that a little bit. But MyHeritage is another, it's become a major player in the last few years, where we only have 3, now we have 5, that we really should consider testing them. So different kinds of tests, it's autosomal, those are the family finder tests. The Ancestry DNA covers everything. The XDNA is included, kind of lumps into that autosomal. It shows up on that, when you test with it, your XDNA is going to be included with that. Y-DNA is your direct male descendants, so father to father to father to father, and the mitochondrial DNA is the mother, so mother to mother to mother to mother. Everybody with me so far? So while I'm talking about that, I have noticed if you get lost at any point while I'm talking, please raise your hand. Ask the question, because if I lose you at that point, you're gonna check out the rest of the time. And it don't feel bad if you don't get it this time, or if you haven't gotten it before. It may take you a few times. I was telling Christina that it took me about 4 times to get it, and all of a sudden I was like, oh, I get it now. Everything fell into place. And something somebody says, it's gonna make everything you've already learned all fall into place. Was it you that I was talking about, or was it? Okay. So ancestry includes your ethnicity. It includes the autosomal, which I was saying, the xDNA. It also has your shaking hands when you match both the tree and your DNA. Now they've got some new things that helps you kind of help kind of sort everything out. It also has an indefinite storage life. So if you basically, as long as the sample is viable. So as long as they can still do it, that sample is stored indefinitely. You also have the benefit of having shared matches, so you can look over there and look under that shared matches, and you're going to go, oh, we also share that same DNA. And you'll have total centimorgans over segments. Centimorgans is your method of measurement for DNA. That's simplistic. So we have inches and centimeters. We have centimorgans. So think of little DNA chunks. How many of you actually have done like several DNA classes and you have understanding basics of DNA? Oh, you guys, seriously, you are my people. So you are.
What are segments? I never understood.
Segments are the chunks of centimorgan. So everything that's lumped together. So we have 21 chromosomes, or 22 chromosomes plus the X. 21 plus the X. And so over all of those different chromosomes, you can have little chunks all over. It's like a puzzle piece. So that segment is like one puzzle piece of a cluster of centimorgans. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Centimorgans is basically like, think of it, one digit of the thing. It's a whole hand. Think like a whole hand is a whole chunk. So it's that, all of these together.
But the more of those you have, the closer
Theoretically, it can work like that, but it gives you a higher probability of being connected. So you want to aim for anything 50 centimorgans and above. You can work with smaller than that, and you'll notice that with the new ancestry features. But for general rule of thumb, 50, 100 centimorgans, those big chunks, that gives you more. The more you have, the more chunks you have, the more likely you're related, or the more closely related you are. Does that make sense? Okay. And family tree DNA, it stores it for 25 years or while the sample is viable. 23andMe also has an indefinite amount of storage. It's the oldest DNA company out there, but it doesn't always have that family tree connected. So you kind of have to know you've got to have your family history down behind you before you start really working with this, and you can identify what sides they're matched to. Anybody with me so far? Yes. Whoops. Why do I do that? I'm trying to think. Okay. So a lot of people, when they come to the DNA, the test said this. And a lot of times we get those big surprises. We always have to remember that DNA, as we work with it and in our application, it's still in an infancy. We are still learning all the things that we can do with DNA and all those consequences that we have, as you're going to notice. The tests are only as good as the people who have tested with that database, meaning 23andMe is not going to talk to Ancestry DNA. If you want to match somebody on 23andMe, you have to test with 23andMe. Likewise, Ancestry DNA. Family Tree has the autosome, that raw upload, or the data where you can upload your zip file and you can punch it over to Family Tree DNA and you can match it there. There's also third-party websites like GenMatch. Yes, yes. This is, I was getting to, but if you're going to match if you're on Ancestry DNA and you're like, well, so-and-so tested. Yes, but when did they test? Well, they tested at 23. Why aren't they showing up? Well, that's because they didn't test with Ancestry. So yeah, my DNA is literally everywhere. If it says it's a DNA test and I can spit in a cup or swab my cheek, it's there. All right. The results of your genetic genealogy test do not include the family tree. It cannot tell you what village your great-grandparents came from, but it can help you narrow down where to look. This is where your regions come in, and as DNA evolves, they're getting better and better and better about identifying those regions, and that comes down, it boils down to, quite simply, more testers. So the more testers, the better information we have. So please get your cousins, your friends, your neighbors, your cousins of your neighbors to test. All right. This slide is my famous slide. I have to tell you, warning. DNA can and will uncover uncomfortable family secrets. This has been in my DNA talk since I first started talking 4 or 5 years ago. All right. Some testers have found out through testing that a relative was adopted, but they didn't know was adopted. Parents not entirely truthful. Really? Dad had a wild past. Mom was crazy. Happens. We were all, 18 months, right? Some uncomfortable surprise. Things happen. Life happens. We're all human. Beware that this could happen to you, to someone you have tested, or someone who's tested and matches you. How many of you already have had that happen? See? This was my big surprise. This is my new to me, older half sister. This is about a year and a half ago. I've had my DNA up on 23andMe for a long time. And then this person pops up as a first cousin. And I'm going, I know all my first cousins who were you. And looking at that chart, you can see, the little cousin chart, it breaks it down. And it turned out to be, long story short, it was her daughter that I matched to on 23andMe. My parents were not on 23andMe, they were on Ancestry. And we're going, once we do this out, I started asking questions, and I joke and I say, I have to give a disclaimer, my parents are in the back here. I had a very uncomfortable conversation with my parents, and I called my mom and dad, and initially I'm trying to prove it's something else other than what I was saying. I'm like, maybe it's the child of one of my cousins. And I was like, Dad, I need to know exactly when you left North Carolina. And he's like, why? And I'm like, we might have a situation. And my dad at this point, he's a pretty clever guy. He started kind of putting two together, and we're all kind of going, I hope this is not what I think it is. And I started asking questions, and he's answering. I said, well, was there anybody you dated? And he said, well, there's just one girl. And we got together a couple times, and we dated. And it was one of those things, He was a Marine, first time away from saying that. And it was, he was 19, and he says, well, her name was, he goes, well, who was the person? And I said, well, her name is Hilda Morton. And he goes, oh no, the girl I hung out with was Dee Fusek. And I said, what was that last name? and Fusek is an unusual name. And as soon as he said that, I didn't have to go any further. It was like, congratulations, Dad, it's a girl. And everybody's like, you really said that? Yes, I did. and the next question is, how was your mom? I said, my mom was awesome about the whole thing. This is one of those Cinderella stories. If you hear of those happy endings, this really is. Jenny, this is, her name is Virginia Lynn. I'm Annette. My sister is Jennifer Lee. I have an older half sister from my dad's first marriage whose name is Lynn. So I'm like, okay, we have Jenny, we have Lynn, we have Jennifer, and then there's me, Annette. Harvard, of course. And with that in mind, you have the ethnicity. Why do siblings always have different ethnicities? You would think you siblings, you're going to have the same thing. You're not. Just like me and my sisters here, we look similar, but we are not quite the same. It trickles down to you. You're going to get different percentages. I may or may not. You guys understand the ethnicity inheritance? Raise your hand if you do not. Okay, I don't even have to go into it then. This is me and my sister. We obviously look like sisters. We are very, very different. I've got brown hair, she's got blonde. She is incredible at organization. If you want somebody to organize your house and make sense of it, she is your girl. I'm your music person. It's just different things got inherited. And obviously this is all of us together because she's my full sister. DNA proof